All right, good evening. I have 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the August 14th, 2025 Shelby County Board meeting to order. We stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for being with us. We ask you to watch over our families, friends, and all the good people of Shelby County. We ask you for guidance with wisdom tonight to make good decisions. And we pray that everyone gets home safe. Amen. Amen.
Move on to item 2, roll call, please.
Bruce Bain. Present. Tim Brown.
Here.
Carol Cole. Here. Julie Edwards. Here. Chrissy Grant. Here. Jeff Gregg.
Here.
Clay Hardy.
Here.
Keith McCormick. Christine Matlock. Here. Tad Mayholm.
Here.
Tricia Miller. Here. Tim Morse.
Here.
Gene Price. Austin Pritchard.
Here.
Sonny Ross.
Here.
Larry Seifert. Don Tate. Christy Wofford. Here. Brett Wallace.
Here.
Judy Wood. Here. Chad Gaines.
Here.
Thank you. On item 3, discussion and vote to approve the minutes from the July 10th, 2025 board meeting. Have a motion, please. Ms. Bain, a second. Mr. Gantis. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes pass. Item 4, public body comment. I have, first here on the list, I have Sharon Allman.
I'm asking regarding item number 12, the rescue squad. And I know you can't answer me or won't answer me during public comment, but I wish you could bring this up during that, when you get to that item. And I want to know if the rescue squad developed their own SOPs, and when the changes were made, was it an open discussion? Did the board tell them how they had to change it? You know, how open was it? How much input was put by all of them? You know, so that's what I would like to know, is how much input there was, so that it's not just the board telling them what they have to do, that they have input into how they run their operation.
Thank you. Public body comment? Public body comment? Yes, sir.
My name is Peter Otis. I'm the president of the court. There's an ordinance that's going to get voted on tonight about the shipping containers, and I'm opposed to that. The stated goal of this ordinance is to encourage land development and economic growth. But let's be clear, banning shipping containers does not create development. It restricts flexibility. It removes a low-cost, versatile option for property owners, many of whom use containers for storage, workshops, or even innovative housing solutions. In rural and semi-rural communities like ours, these uses are not only practical, they're often essential. Let's talk about economics. There's no evidence that banning containers will stimulate investment or attract developers. In fact, it may do the opposite. By limiting affordable options for land use, we risk discouraging small-scale entrepreneurship, farmers, tradespeople, and residents who rely on these structures to support their livelihoods. Development doesn't come from restriction, it comes from opportunity. And let's talk about fairness. The ordinance disproportionately affects working-class residents who may not have had the resources to build traditional structures. It sends a message that aesthetics matter more than utility, that innovation must take a backseat to conformity. If the concern is about blight or safety, And let's address those issues directly with standards for maintenance, placement, and screening. But a blanket ban is a blunt instrument. It punishes everyone for the potential misuse of a few. We should encourage creative land use, not stifling it. We should be empowering residents, not limiting them. And we should be making policy based on evidence, not assumptions. I urge you to reconsider this amendment. Let's work together to find a balanced solution, one that respects property rights, supports economic diversity, and reflects the values of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Public body comment? Yes, sir.
John Pennington. I just want to also, for the shipping container ban, I just want to also speak out that I'm opposed to the shipping container ban. As he had also commented, it's an affordable solution sometimes, especially with the current building costs with lumber and everything. Sometimes it's not economical to build a permanent structure. Also, it allows that if you move, you can actually take your structure with you. And it's more of a permanent that it's actually yours. And I, as a shipping container owner, I'm against it.
Thank you. Public body comment? Public body comment? Public body comment. Okay, excuse me. On to item 5, discussion and vote to approve the proposed update to pay structure and compensation for deputy coroners. Can I have a motion on this item, please? Ms. Matlock, I have Mr. Pritchard. Yes, ma'am.
If anybody had any questions, I sent out, or I had the readouts were sent ahead, so just making sure anybody didn't have any questions.
Any questions or discussion for Mr. Bolt? Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, sir.
My question is, are you wanting this to be now or on the next budget?
Best case scenario would be now, because I have seen history and time cards, and I know what was being done, and it wasn't necessarily done with approval or knowledge of anyone. I think it was just being done. And so I'm trying to avoid any criticism in that moving forward and doing it in the right steps.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is the money in the budget to cover your expected expenditure?
It should be, yes.
Okay. And then secondly, is this vastly different from what was being done, or is it sort of
No,
the same?
it really
just written
isn't.
down?
So with two things here is, one, I am asking to change the deputy stipend from $1,000 annually to $1,200 annually, instead of being paid bi-weekly, it'd be paid monthly. Just appears a little better than a $38 check coming at you than $100 looks a little better. With that increase of an hourly pay as well, just because they're being paid minimum wage to be out all hours of the night for multiple hours at a time generally, as well as I'm starting a tiered pay structure. And so we'd have entry-level deputy coroners that would be in training or ones that are not as active. And so the stipend increase would be the ones that are the active deputy coroners.
Thank you for that. This per hour, that starts when they get the call or when they're on the scene, or?
So I have created kind of my own office procedures and how I expect them to go. Their handbook for them states that from time of call, they should be on the road within 30 minutes. And I'd like them to be on scene within an hour and a half. That seems like a big number, but if you're down in the southeast corner and you have to go to Moequa, and it's December and it's snowing, an hour and a half goes really quick. So that is my goal, is to be on scene in an hour and a half. Their pay generally starts when they leave to go on the call.
Perfect. Thank you. I get that.
Thank you. Was there something?
How many deputies do you have?
It's going to sound like a lot. I currently have 8, but I only have 4 that are, I have 2 that are brand new within the last 2 weeks, and I only have 2 that are actually really active that have done much or anything.
How many were there?
So with Brad, he had 4, but he kind of had the same problem that only 1 or 2 were really active. And I'm trying to reduce burnout in them. And that's one thing that I'm trying to reduce. And so I have, of my 8, like I said, 2 are brand new within the last couple of weeks and have not gotten really any training yet. 2 have been my right hands since January. The other 4 have done very, very, very little or nothing. And so I'm trying to positively encourage the ones that are helpful and, you know, and not reward, but, you know, show them that I do appreciate them because they are out however long at night and whatever weather.
And are they located around the county so they really
Yes.
don't have that much travel time?
Yes.
Unless someone isn't available?
Correct. I have kind of the southwest corner covered. I have west over towards Tower Hill. I have north up by Mowequa covered. Windsor is covered, and then of course I'm kind of the southeast corner of the county.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions, discussion? No? Okay. Yes, sir.
You did say it was in the budget, in your budget to... Well, for 1.5 in the hole, I mean, how do we keep hiring people and paying them? With it being in the budget?
Do you know how much they're making?
Huh?
Do you know how much they're making? $15 an hour.
Well, I got it, but I know
Yeah,
we're
do what they do.
we're 0.5 in the hole too.
Well, no, I don't think that's
Do
an
what?
accurate
Our
statement.
budget ain't in the hole?
It is not.
No.
I'll address it later, if you'd like.
Huh?
I can address that later if you'd like, during my update. Yes, sir.
How many, I don't know, how many people pass away in a month in Shelby County?
In a given month, it varies, we can't guess. Since I have been on in January, we've had as high as 45 in a month. July, thankfully, was a little bit slower, and we only had 15. So,
Thank you.
and with that being said, not all of those do you have to actually go on scene. A good chunk of hospice ones, you don't have to even go, it's a phone call to take the information.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. Will this be approved as written so that she can implement it immediately, or does that need to be 2 pieces as we vote? The request, as I understand it, is that this be the pay schedule. Additionally, that we start it now. So when we vote, we're voting to approve it and start it now.
Yes, yeah, as presented.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And I will say, some of her people haven't, I think, did we get you caught up on payroll?
All but one, but we were waiting to see what we needed to do with this.
Okay.
He's caught up on like hourly payroll, it's the stipend side that he's not caught up on.
Okay. All right.
But Liz and I already have everything calculated and ready to go.
Teresa Bain,
Yes.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Carol Cole,
Yes.
Julie Edwards,
Yes.
Chrissy Grant,
Yes.
Jeff Gray,
Yes.
Clay Hardy,
Yes.
Christine Matlock,
Yes.
Tad Mahal,
Yes.
Tricia Miller,
Yes.
Tim Morse,
Yes.
Austin Pritchard,
Yes.
Sonny Ross,
Yes.
Christy Wofford,
Yes.
Brent Wallace,
No.
Judy Wood,
Yes.
Chad Yanis.
Yes.
Motion passes 16 ayes, 1 nay, Brent Wallace.
Thank you. On to item 6, discussion and vote to approve the following: A, intergovernmental agreement with Kane County And B, annual firearms approval, all for the probation office. Have a motion on this, please. Mr. Gregg, Ms. Payne. Hi.
Hi. Which one are you taking the motion on? Because the intergovernmental agreement.
We'll do both. We'll just put them together.
Okay. I've asked for a change on the intergovernmental
Okay.
agreement. The email that I sent you, I know that the judge requested possibly a 1-year contract, not a 3-year. This was a 3-year. I talked to Kane County, and we'd like to do a 2-year because in the contract there's a place where you can give 30-day written notice. So if we wanted out of the contract after a year, we could get out of it.
Okay.
So the two factors were that the rate increased from 175 per day to 225 per day, and then the length of the contract were the only differences in what we already are currently in. And I also know that the sheriff has requested that we find somewhere closer. So I had my juvenile officer call all the detention centers in the state. They're actually not giving them out. Champaign County, Madison County won't give an IGA. McLean County won't. Peoria County is maxed out. They won't give any. St. Clair, these facilities are either understaffed or not giving out contracts. Some of them are actually changing their contracts to where you pay them monthly whether you have a juvenile there or not. This guarantees us a safe place for our kids if they have to be detained. Last year was a little expensive. This year we've only detained one minor for 4 days at a cost of I think like $1,400. So that's what I'm asking for. It's actually being presented to Kane County Board tonight. And so they're going to kick it back with a 2-year, and then I would present it to you at that time. So,
Okay.
and if anybody has any other questions.
So make sure I get this right. So you're asking for an amendment from 3 years to 2 years.
Yes.
And then the dollar amount per day goes from 175 to 225?
Yeah, that's in the contract. That's the difference. That's what they're charging now. And Kane County is one of the best in the state. So I know it's travel time for our officers, but they do have Zoom court. So if the court allows, they do not have to be brought here. They can do court by Zoom.
Okay.
So trying to help the sheriff as well.
Appreciate that. Okay, so with that, there is a request for an amendment in the IGA with Kane County for the term of the contract to move from a 3-year to a 2-year, and for the daily payment to go from 175 to 225. A motion on that amendment, please. Mr. Pritchard, Mr. Morris on a second. Any discussion on the amendment for the IGA? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Amendment passes. Back to the original motion. Any further discussion or questions as it relates to the IGA with Kane County or the annual firearms approval for Ms. Wade?
So per policy, just so everyone knows, policy procedures, weapons of solid policy for Shelby County approved requires annual signatures from the chief judge, the circuit judge, and then the county board chairman. So I bring it to you guys every year so you can discuss it if you have any questions. I'm up to date on all my training. I am due for recertification sometime this month. Hoping to get that done, but everything else is in place.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, seeing none, go ahead and do a roll call on this one since there's some money involved.
Okay. Teresa Bain?
Yes.
Tim Brown?
Yes.
Carol Cole?
Yes.
Julie Edwards?
No.
Chrissy Grant?
Yes.
Jeff Gregg?
Yes.
Clay Hardy?
Yes.
Christine Matlock?
Yes.
Tad Mahal?
Yes.
Tricia Miller?
Yes.
Tim Morse?
Yes.
Austin Pritchard?
Yes.
Sonny Ross?
Yes.
Christy Wofford?
Yes.
Brett Wallace?
Yes.
Judy Wood?
Yes.
Chad Dennis?
Yes.
Motion passes 16 ayes, 1 nay, Edwards.
And since I'm here, I thought I typed up a few things. If you don't want to hear it right now, I'm going to have just a few updates for you that I thought everyone, I know I communicate with Mr. Mahal quite a bit, but I just ran through a few things from the office to let you all know that we received our allocation for fiscal year 2026. Our allocation from the Supreme Court is $172,677. That's for salaries for probation officers. And I'm happy to say the 6th straight year our salaries will be 100% funded. So we'll be funded by the Supreme Court. If there were a shortfall due to raises or anything that have been approved by the chief, they can be paid through the probation service fee fund. So it wouldn't come from the county fund, so we're still being fully funded by the state. I completed my proposed budget and gave it to county clerk, sorry Jessica. I do expect to make a few changes. I don't know if any of you have reviewed it yet, but I will be making changes based on the fact that the annual plan for the probation department is due on August 31st. I have it approximately 75% complete. I hope to finish it this next week, depending on my scheduling. And part of that with the detention that we just asked for today, the Shelby County Juvenile Detention Policy and Procedures were recently updated. New standards came out from the AOIC for detention in February, I believe. So we redid their policy and we redid our procedures, and that's been submitted to the chief judge and approved. It will go in with the annual plan to the administrative office for final approval. And after that, I'm hoping to meet with all local law enforcement in Shelby County to do an updated training on the new detention screening for juveniles. So the tool that's been used for as long as I can remember has been completely revamped. Probation are typically the ones that are going to detain. If they're going to be detained, it has to be a probation officer. So we want to get those new regulations out to local law enforcement so we can help them know when to detain and when to release. And then the other piece is the drug court has admitted 2 new clients recently. We're up to 5. We have 2 more pending referrals. Our program is only certified for 13, but our drug court officer, Angela Durbin, she completed, I don't know if you've been on the Shelby County website on the probation portion, but she completed a brand new pamphlet that's being distributed throughout the county for individuals to have information on the drug court program. So I know a lot of you come to our graduations. We're hoping to have 2 graduate in December, bring us back down to 3 if we don't get those other 2 in. So that pamphlet's out there for everyone to review. It's accessible. My tech put it on the website, so you can click and get a link to that, and also the referral form. So she got that done pretty quick, and my tech got it on the website for us. So hopefully you can all come watch a couple more people graduate in December. So that is all.
Are you hanging around or are you taking off?
What's that?
I said, are you taking off? I said, if you want to hang around.
No, I
you're
prefer
good,
to
you're
go
set.
So, and if anyone has any questions while I'm here, if not, I'm going to take off.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on to item 7, discussion and vote to approve item A map amendment for Greg and Rosemary Bauer to rezone parcel 2409-36-00-400-008 from residential to general business for the use as a commercial self-storage facility.
Make that motion.
Motion from Mr. Ross, I have a second. Mr. Morse. I'll let you lead off.
Okay. I mean, this is a pretty basic map amendment that these kinds of map amendments we've had before. Again, everyone here got a map or already had a map. The only thing I really have to say is I do have one letter of opposition that I would like to read. To whom it may concern, it is our desire to keep the land within the blue line on the map, zoned as agriculture. At best, we feel that only the area needed for the proposed building be changed to general business, the balance remaining as agriculture. We feel that any such rezoning will increase taxes on surrounding property. Best regards, Don and Linda Dorian. And then on the map, the opposite, the people that were opposed, I have their property listed on that map.
Any questions or discussion? Ms. Payne?
Has legal looked at all this,
No, but that's not normal.
even when somebody opposes something?
I mean, I'd more than you have to have Ruth look at it, but at some point, it's just an administrative decision.
It's right on the highway in Windsor.
Yes, it is. Just past the pallet factory on the south side of the road.
Do Dorings live in that the opposed, do they live in that opposed place?
Not that I'm
Or they
aware
live
of,
on
they
private?
just own that property.
No, they do not. They do not live there.
No, they don't, they live half a mile to a mile south.
Okay.
And they're wanting the whole 41.57 acres rezoned.
That's how it works. There's no legal authority in our zoning ordinance to portion off a section of it to zone in just one or the other. It has to be the whole thing unless they go through the process of separating it into a separate parcel.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Simply because we changed this from residential to commercial doesn't mean they cannot maintain farming the parts that are not.
Yeah, they absolutely can.
Right. So, one of the objections was that it stay farm ground, and I think Mr. Bauer is going to maintain a lot of this in farm ground, but it has to be converted in order for him to build business that's close to Windsor to provide storage units for different things. So I would urge you guys to vote to help some growth. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Will that do anything to the taxes to the other?
I'm not a tax expert. I'm a land use expert, so I can't.
Okay, has this been done before?
I mean, it's been done multiple times. We've changed many areas of land.
Has it, on the properties that you've done it to, has it affected the taxes on the other people's property?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know what their tax bills are. I can only guess that the answer is it just depends on what if people next door think that that property is not worth more, that's really all it's going to change.
I have a question. These people just aren't against storage containers, right? I mean, you can have a storage container anywhere in town, is that correct or not?
We're not talking about the shipping containers. This is a commercial storage facility.
Okay, I thought.
Okay.
Yes, okay. I'll wait.
Any other questions, discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Move on to item B, discussion and vote to approve text amendment prohibiting shipping containers in areas of Shelby County zoned as residential and rural residential. Have a motion on this, please. Mr. Yantis, have a second. Ms. Grant, back to you. Mr. McKee.
You all have received the information about this already, so if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to talk about it. The idea behind this is for very small parcels of land that are like 0.21 acres, for a neighbor to put a shipping container next door might feel a little tacky. So it's up to you guys what you want to do with it. I have no emotions about the amendment myself.
Mr. Yantis.
Have we had legal look at this?
No, we have not. It is within the authority of the county to prohibit structures, but I'm more than happy to forward this through.
I personally think we need to have Ruth look at this, because if you're starting to talk about portable buildings, I think you're on a slippery slope as any portable wooden shed could be drugged into this in some legal aspect on down the road. So I think we need a legal opinion on this and review. I'm done.
Okay.
I did do some follow-up with Mr. McKee, and the original situation that brought this about, and you correct me if I'm wrong, was an anonymous complaint to the health department. I spoke to the health department, to the individual that took the complaint, and I said, was there a health concern? And his response was no. I don't think that in a rural community, we can enforce what people put on their property. This is a free country last I knew, and people use it for various things. They use it for storage because it's typically rodent and weather type. They lock up fertilizer, chemicals, hay for their kids' pony. And if they're building something, a lot of times they use a storage container because they can lock that thing up at night, nobody can steal stuff from it. When I was discussing with another member of the board, I looked around where I was sitting in my car, and I thought, there's a building there that's not worth $50. There's another one, there's another one. And in my way of thinking, I would tear them down, but I don't have the right to tell them to tear it down. I do think there could potentially down the road be the tiny home thing that comes here, just like our coffee shop out west. I think that there's probably something going to, start with that soon. But I don't think it's our business to tell someone, as long as they're not on the easement for utilities, they're following the setbacks, they're not obstructing the view of a road. I don't think we should get into that. If a neighbor has a problem with a neighbor in their shipping container, or their dirty yard, or their shed that's half fallen over, they need to discuss that with them, not bring it to the board. I don't think this is something the board should act upon as a one-time anonymous complaint with no health concerns. Now, that doesn't mean in the future we might decide that, for instance, a lot of a certain size can only have so many, or that it needs to be beyond the front face of the home where the entrance is. A lot of HOAs will have that. But I think at this present time, we need to leave this lie. This is probably something we don't need to get involved in. Did I get the details right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And if there were a health concern, say people were living in it and they shouldn't have been, that is when the health department or family services or anybody else can get involved. And I agree with Christine, this one-off, I can't roll with it right now.
I also agree. I think it's too much intrusion on people's, they need to be able to make the decision what they want on their property, or else we might get into the situation where somebody might make a complaint because somebody has some of those 30 pink flamingos on their yard and people don't want them on their yard. There's homeowners associations that people can move into that limit what you have. This is somebody, as far as I know, there's no homeowners association, correct?
Not that I'm aware of.
And no ordinances that would,
No subdivision covenants that would prohibit it.
yeah. But I mean, you could get into that kind of if somebody's unhappy with somebody, which usually when they make an anonymous complaint, they typically are unhappy in some way, not always, but in some way, shape, or form. And what will be next? Somebody doesn't want 10 lighthouses or gnomes or something like that.
No,
So
I absolutely agree. It is the board's decision to decide how intrusive they want to be with the zoning ordinance.
Right.
Again, there's a lot of good that can come from the zoning ordinance, but you want to be very careful of local regulation.
Right. You don't want to be too intrusive on a homeowner. Okay.
Isn't it up to the towns for the ordinances to be, the county shouldn't be regulating.
So municipalities, we don't have any authority over municipalities, like the city of Shelbyville, for example. It has its own zoning. We have zero authority there when it comes to zoning. So Shelbyville, Findlay, Windsor, those areas, they're off limits for anything that we do in our zoning ordinance.
So we'd be talking, okay, I guess I'm confused of where we're exactly talking.
This would affect subdivisions that are within the county, such as the subdivisions out past Walmart or the subdivisions at Lake Mattoon that are, tiny little parcel like 0.21.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no way. Good shot.
Two parts. When you bring up subdivisions, if I go out here and I have 20 acres of ground in the rural area and I want to subdivide it, whenever I'm building that, that is my decision for facade, whatever. I can sit there and say the front of your home has to be brick when you build new construction. You have to have a 20-foot breezeway between a two-car garage. That is where this needs to be put in place, that this cannot be allowed. I don't think the board here should be taking this up at all. I think it should be left to the subdivision or subdivisions and the individuals building them. That's just my opinion. And then the other part of that is, if part of that with what you sent was due to economic growth, if I remember that correctly, if I'm going out here to look at a piece of property to subdivide and build a subdivision, I'm looking at everything around it for a mile. If I see a hog farm on it, I'm not going to try to develop 20 acres. It's just not going to happen. So I think you being a developer would want to look at the area better if you wanted to develop it economically.
The word development there was not necessarily about developers. It was about providing opportunities for economic growth. Correct.
Thank you, Scott.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Up front.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I see this as with a couple of issues. Number one, the county, to my knowledge, doesn't issue permits for these in the first place. So then we have an issue of enforcement on the backside if someone decides to put one in that they didn't tell anybody. I don't know that we have the mechanisms in place to force them to remove it. So there's an issue there. I personally am a private landowner rights person, and you know, if you're blocking, obstructing the view of your neighbor, those things can come into play. If there's an issue in one particular area, I think maybe we need to go at it more surgically and less blanket. So I'm opposed to this, and I would strongly urge a no vote. I yield back.
Just a side note, Scott, even if we did vote, yes, we want to do this, which I think most of us have expressed our opinion, we don't want to do this. Even if it was done, we did pass it, those storage containers that were complained about will go nowhere.
Correct.
They're grandfathered. So the purpose of the complaint was to get it removed, and even if we pass it, they will not go anywhere. Neither will any of the other ones.
This would only affect, again, this would only affect new attempts to put storage or shipping containers in, and it would only affect areas that are zoned as residential and rural residential, which is a very small portion of the county. I put the map up there in the hallway so everyone can see it.
And rural residential is typically 5 acres or less outside of the city limits?
No, the purpose of rural residential is to be between farms and residential.
Okay.
And typically the 5 acres is supposed to be the minimum. However, they can be as big as 80 acres.
Okay,
So
okay. Thank you.
Call the vote.
Great.
All right, vote's been called. Make sure everybody understands. A vote yes would be to approve the text amendment. So with that in mind, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no?
No.
Motion failed. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to item 8, discussion vote to approve job posting, posting a job notice for the zoning administrator position. Have a motion on this item, please. Mr. Yantis, have a second. Ms. Wood. Everybody received the resignation letter from Mr. McKee from zoning here not too long ago, but he's graciously agreed to stay on to get us through the rest of the year, to give us some time to fill the spot. And today the actual posting was emailed out to everybody, so if you didn't have a chance to see it, we might have somebody with a copy of it here. But basically we're just putting this position out there to advertise it so we can start gathering some interest for anybody that might want this position. So, with that, I'll entertain any questions or discussion. Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. Moving on to 9, discussion vote to approve Shelby County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Have a motion on this item, please. Mr. Ross and Ms. Miller. Scott, you're on.
I am fortunate enough to be joined today by Allison Hudson from McColl's County Regional Planning. She is one of the people that spearheaded this and to put this hazard mitigation plan together. Again, it's a 202-page document about the hazards that affect the county and mitigation practices for those hazards. Does anybody have any questions about this document?
No, and thank you for getting that out well in advance so we can go through all 2 pages of the item.
I will say there's a lot of good information in there.
Yes, yes.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
None? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you. Move on to item 10, discussion of vote to approve the request from the Sheriff's Department to surplus a 2013 Ford Explorer, VIN number 1FM5K8B88DG02461 with approximately 178,000 miles. Have a motion on this item, please. Ms. Matlock, have a second. Mr. Pritchard, any discussion, questions? No, not seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item 11, discussion and vote to amend the budget for the PCOM Public Transportation Administrator upon recommendation of the Budget Audit and Legislative Committee. Have a motion on this item, please. Ms. Bain, Mr. Yantis. Open it up for discussion or questions. So with this, as we know, early in the year, we were asked to get this position hired that was vacated, I think, in 2022. So per the request of IDOT CEFS, we get the position hired for, but the budget did not have line items associated with it. So the money's the same, it's just the allocation for the items to include, telecommunications, mileage, pay, is taking the money and actually allocating those for the rest of the fiscal year. So they actually have a line item, which was one of the audit findings. So the amendment doesn't change the money, it just changes where the money would go. Yes?
I have a question. So I talked to you today, you explained it very well. I also had a conversation with the treasurer. Her concern, it sounds like, is where is the money coming from? So is it coming out of the general fund, or is it going to come out of the CEFS grants? Because it's going to be reimbursed somewhere. And I think her concern is that if we don't take it out of the CEFS grants, there's going to be some confusion as to when the audit comes as to where that money came from, where that money's going, things like that. So that's kind of where the clarification, I guess. I don't know if everybody else got all the emails and it confused, I wasn't really sure what was going on by the time I read them all. So that was what her concern was, not that should we do it, would we do it, can we do it, it's are we going to label it, I think might be the right word, correctly, so that it's coming from where the grants come from rather than out of the general fund. Did I explain that?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Probably everybody's even more confused.
So,
but
the clerk has been involved in this discussion as
correct.
well. And so there's been a fair amount of communication on how that would happen. To clarify that, if you have any input, I'll take your input on that exactly. But all of the money will be from the grant, right? So the county is not paying for anything.
Right, correct.
Now, as it relates to all the expenses, exactly how that works out, I know that Ms. Watkins has worked with the logistics with CEFS, IDOT, and the treasurer on that. Okay. So I can't say that I specifically know the answer to that question, but I do know as far as pay, benefits, technology, right, the fringes, everything is coming from
the grant.
The grant, that's correct.
The CEFS grant. And I think that was the concern is where are we going to put, I'm probably not going to explain this right, but where are we going to put, is the money going to show that it's coming from the grant, or is the money going to show that it's coming from the general fund?
So I actually have with me the budget.
Okay.
As is now.
Mm-hmm.
And so being 68.76% of the year, it's coming from the grant.
Okay, perfect.
So if that makes sense, if you'd like.
No, it's fine.
So it's coming from the grant, and so the money's, again, it's all passed through.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I've learned a lot more, I think, on this topic than I thought that I would possibly want to know. But again, for good housekeeping is making sure we have the right line items in the respective spots. So as she's spending money in those spots, they are appropriately lined out.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir. We're not changing essentially anything other than we had one line item with a lot of money in it. Now we're going to have 5 little bitty amounts that equal the one amount from previously, yes. Which we should have had those line items in the first place.
Yes, and again, per our discussion this afternoon, is when we were doing the budget last year, we knew CFS was on here, but I don't think any of us knew what PCOM was.
That's safe to say.
And so when approached early in the year, and this became something that we now are aware of, to go in and to add the various line items, is the proper accounting. That we need to make sure that we give Ms. Watkins that opportunity to have the proper accounting as well.
Sure, and so then the money question is going to be essentially the money that was going into the big line item is just going to be going into the several different line items?
It's all, yeah, so the answer technically is yes, right?
Yeah.
So there's still the big line items here. We
Sure.
just took smaller bites
Sure.
and put them in their
Sure.
appropriate spots.
Sure, thank you.
Yes.
I would just like to raise a concern that our treasurer is not being included in this. And, you know, tonight at this meeting alone, I think on 3 separate topics, it was asked if we consulted with our legal counsel. Why aren't we consulting with our treasurer? That's
What
our...
are we going to consult, what would we ask her?
We would communicate with her.
I understand that, and we have been, there's been a lot of emails, but.
No, we haven't.
You can address, you guys can.
Okay, sorry. There were a lot of emails going back and forth, including auditors being asked if this was the appropriate way to handle it, and.
Well, okay, right there.
Mr.
Why are we
Chairman, point of
asking?
order. Mr. Chairman, point of order. With multiple members interrupting members, the gentleman here had the floor first. I want to entertain healthy debate, but the going back and forth is non-productive. I yield back.
Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to make the point. I'm not so concerned about what some auditor says. In fact, initially I wanted to ask who is this auditor, and then I thought, who cares? We have a treasurer. And if any of you read my email, I think we have a very competent, capable, ethical treasurer. But we don't consult with our treasurer, we don't communicate with our treasurer, and I think we should. I think it's a big problem in this county. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anything else?
So, it's my understanding, the money was already in the budget. And the treasurer, as part of that, she makes sure that the money's there and that we're able to pay the bills when they come in. Is that right? So help me understand, if we're not communicating with her and we can solve that problem, what questions would we have asked her?
I mean, on this topic, I can confidently say that Ms. Watkins, who's responsible for this budget, did communicate regularly, and that's how these line items were created. So between the generosity of EFS and then Ms. Watkins, the items were pulled from an old budget,
Right.
so we at least had the right line item numbers in there, and then the treasurer was consulted with to confirm
Right.
that these would still be the line items. So she was communicated with on
Okay,
this.
I
on
just
this.
wanted to make sure I was understanding all that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? So as this process works, for those that were here last year, through the budget process, this is a 2-part process. Is the vote tonight is to put it on public display to be viewed by the public for 10 days? 15 days. And so that we're allowed to provide, the community can provide us feedback. At that point, we then bring it back at a separate meeting to vote to finalize the amendment. So, any other questions or discussion?
Well, excuse me. I would just like to say, if the treasurer has a conflict or an issue with it, I wish we would invite the treasurer here, or have a meeting with the treasurer like she asked for, instead of basically trying to ram it through behind her back.
Mr. Brown, this was brought to the attention of the treasurer July 7th. It's not ramming it through.
Okay, but she did ask for a meeting.
Sure. And meetings can still take place. This is for the public to view. And just as we did last year, our amendment can be made at the next meeting.
I would like to have the treasurer's blessing.
Okay, and we have 30 days.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I guess one question. Who was in the PCOM role before Ms. Watkins?
the role itself, I mean, it was vacant, but I think it was assigned to the treasurer at that time.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and our meetings are scheduled every second Thursday of the month. Our EMA director was here and we were able to ask questions. So it's not a surprise that these meetings happen on Thursday. And I think if there was discussion, people know when to show up so we can ask questions to them. So, and you're saying that there will be an opportunity for questions later.
Sure, and again, I encourage anybody to ask questions. And again, we will have subsequent meetings between now and next month to make sure that it, again, the clerk's office also needs to make sure that everybody is on the right page on exactly where they will pay the bill from, if there's a reimbursement, exactly how that's going to work, what that process will be.
And I will say, the treasurer and I have had several conversations about this, because her office will create these line items. So I had asked if these were going to come out of, there was a lot of confusion with a lot of line items that were thrown out there. So I think that everyone's on the same page now that these line items will all be under the CEFS budget. So nothing's going to change from a general fund standpoint. And, the treasurer's office creates the line items. Once those are created and this budget amendment has been approved, then the claims will run through the AP process. But until those line items are actually created, we can't really do anything. But she and I have had several conversations, so.
So there's been quite a bit of communication with the treasurer through email and through.
I've talked to her simply because, that office always has to create the line items.
Right.
And I just wanted to make sure she and I were on the same page as these will fall under CEFS.
Right.
Because there were times when I was like, this can't come out of general fund. And that's what she and I were trying to come to terms that, yes, these will all come out of CEFS. So essentially, instead of the one big number like Sunny said, the rest of the line items will come out of that. So it'll be easy to track.
Jessica, when I spoke to the treasurer today, she confirmed exactly what you just said, that you guys had been talking about it to get clarification on things. So.
Call the vote, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. All right. Roll call.
Teresa Bain,
Yes.
Tim Brown,
No.
Carol Cole,
Yes.
Julie Edwards,
Yes.
Chrissy Grant,
Yes.
Jeff Gray,
Yes.
Clay Hardy,
Yes.
Christine Matlock,
Yes.
Ted Minow,
Yes.
Tricia Miller,
Yes.
Tim Morse,
Yes.
Austin Pritchard,
Yes.
Sonny Ross,
Yes.
Kristen Wofford,
Yes.
Brett Wallace,
Yes.
Judy Wood,
Yes.
Chad Yanis.
Yes.
Motion passes 16 ayes, 1 nay, Brown.
Thank you. Move on to item 12, discussion and vote to approve the rescue squad SOPs, SOGs, as recommended by the Public Safety Committee. I've got Mr. Ross on the motion. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pritchard.
So, I want to thank the people who were involved in this, directly or indirectly. This was a group effort. The rescue squad and a lot of the members were there at our safety meeting Tuesday night. They were heavily involved. Jordan and Cody and several others, I'm sure. And it was a group effort. Thank Sonny for his input. He worked with this group. Thank Austin for his input. It was a group effort with those two guys and several people from the rescue, and I asked them to have this finalized by the August meeting, and here we are, and it is done. So I appreciate their efforts. And as I told them, if we have amendments going forward, something we need to tweak, that's not a problem. If we see something, but the bones of this agreement are really good and really well written and thought out, and I appreciate the efforts.
Thank you. Anybody else anything to add?
Just echo a lot of his comments. It was a group effort. I know in public body comment that was a question. There were questions from the board to the rescue squad, but the rescue squad very heavily involved in the entire process from really start to finish. So, yeah, and I appreciate the help of Mr. Pritchard and Mr. Gregg for allowing me the opportunity to work with the guys on that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so at the meeting of the night, there were some misspelled words, and did all that get taken care of? Because the new one sent out still had seniority instead of seniority.
Are you kidding me?
On page 5. Sonority.
Mr. Chairman, it's not as impressive as Mr. McKee's document. It is only 30-some pages, but it says seniority on mine.
On the one that I got from Jessica the other day.
Does it say PSC approved draft in gray in the back?
Uh-huh.
On which page?
5.
I'm not denying it.
E, it says the officer.
Oh,
most
yeah, there's,
seniority.
I missed that one. My apologies.
Okay.
I'd like to make an amendment that I can change that word.
Okay. And then on page 7.
Is the same thing?
No, this is a different one. This is under driving requirements. And I did read this. Under the driving requirements, number 3, it says members who have rode along. I'd like to have that changed to ridden instead of rode. Just a grammatical error.
Now to page 7.
Page 7.
Where about?
Number 3, members who
have ridden. You wanted it to say ridden, right?
It's, well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're
members who
discussing,
have
ridden.
rode, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I have a live document here that I can change those, and I will get that to the clerk.
And those are the only 2 things that I saw.
Thank you.
You good?
Wait, I'm great.
But I have to admit, after you went through the sonority thing several times, I found it.
You'll have that.
Who do I want to be my competitor to spell me?
Let's get Carol a red pen for the next one.
Yeah.
All right, you want to make an amendment to make those?
I'd like to make an amendment to adjust the 2 words on one on page 5 and one on page 7 to reflect proper grammar.
Would you like to second that?
I'll second that.
All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, back to the original. Any further discussion on the SOPs, SOGs? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Item 13, discussion and vote to approve the 2026 holiday calendar. I have a motion on this. Ms. Wood, Ms. Cole, any discussions or questions on next year's calendar?
Do we have a say, or isn't this negotiated in the contract?
Yeah.
Okay, so we just get to say
Well, there
I don't know
are
if you can change
employees that are not
holidays.
under
I don't know if you have to change holidays, but most of this comes down to when the courthouse closes.
Right, yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Anything else? Any questions? No? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, any committee updates? Okay. Moving on to chairman appointments. I was informed by the clerk that we did not receive a name for the appointment to the 708 board due to the replacement of Ms. Carswell. So we will move on and hopefully get a name next month on that. Chairman updates and correspondence. What I will do is I will start with Mr. Wallace's introduction. So as far as the budget, we review the budget once a month in committee, and I think that the clerk sends it out once a month. And the last one I received, we were 2/3 of the way through the year, I think, if that's not too far off, and we were slightly over, like 52% spent on the year. So as far as the spending, right, so the projected versus the actual is, the spending is lower, and that includes all back pay has now been made as well. So the union contract didn't get settled, neither the union contract got settled till fiscal year 25. So we took a quarter of last year's pay raises that should have been paid on last year, but since the contract wasn't done, they were actually paid in this fiscal year. So even with those being paid into this year, we're still under budget on spending.
So if we keep going, we will have erased the 1.5.
As far as the exact number, I don't know exactly what that number.
But I mean, if we keep going right now, the way it's going right now, we'll at least be
We'll
even
close
with
that
the
gap.
board.
We'll close, the gap is closing, yes, if that makes sense. So we spent half, 2/3 of the way through the year. Give or take.
So projections stay right, we shouldn't be in the hole at all.
Fair.
Maybe.
Wait, without the exact numbers, right?
Okay, then where are we saving the money at? I mean, how was we so far off?
I mean, I can get opinions of this all day, right? And a lot of it comes down to, we had to get that thing done in short order with limited data. Makes sense? I mean, we didn't have, as far as, as we look at the income projections, and I don't have it all in front of me.
That's fine.
But again, so we'll go through, as we get through the year, we continue to look at were the income projections right? So did we end up with more or less income than that was projected? But then also on the spending side. So I know a lot of the department heads did the best they could to factor in what pay raises could possibly look like, right, for this year with a guess, not knowing what the end result could be for union contract negotiations and the settlement on that. But I think a lot of it too is we have to look at our department heads and their fiscal responsibility. They're being fiscally responsible on where they're spending. So you can look at the line items for payroll, right? To be fair, I look at the clerk's payroll every month to see how far we into the month because their pay is equal every month. That's my baseline to know how far we enter the month with the reports that she sends out. I go down from there and I just look at everything that's either over or under on spending. And so when we started the year, one of the biggest outputs that we had was our initial insurance payment.
Yes.
And it really skewed what the budget was going to look like. But the further we get through that through the year, as we pay our premiums, it levels out. So now being 2/3 or even further that through the year, anything below that number, right, we just look at, you have to a lot attribute to whether it's office supplies or any other spending, that they are spending below what the forecasted amount was. But again, I think that some of the spending possibly was just numbers were put in there going, well, this is my best guess, without good historical data. We're trying to work on that now to be a little bit more proactive in the budgeting process for fiscal year 26. And if we need the help, we contracted with Sigich to help us get through that process a little smoother. The clerk sent something out almost 2 months ago asking for projections for next year. So we're further ahead. So hopefully we can drill down and get that number just a little bit closer this time. But as far to your point, if I was to put my bet out there, we're not going to end up spending the 1.5 million over the revenue side.
Well, if we're 2/3 through the year, we've only spent half of it. I mean, you'd have to spend a lot of money that shouldn't be spent. If we could break even, that'd be great. I mean, if we could have some surplus, that'd be fantastic,
Yeah, and the trend analysis for the year, right? I mean, if I was to plot point that and put that on a trend analysis, the trend analysis has been there is where, the expected spending, and we've trended below that. There was a small spike when back pay was paid out. So FOP was first earlier in the year, and then we just wrapped up here within the past 6 weeks the AFSCME back pay on those contracts. So there's a small spike, so that those lines do converge and get a little closer, but we're still trending below what was forecasted.
Well, that's better than looking at one, yeah, okay. All right, thank you for that.
Sure, thank you. I do have a couple of pieces of correspondence. I will apologize in advance. They appear to be fairly lengthy. First one is from the Illinois Environmental Protections Agency. It's a public notice. It's a proposed renewal of the Clean Air Act permit program permit. Shelby County Energy LLC in Neoga, Shelby County Energy LLC has requested that the IEPA renew the Clean Air Act permit program, CAAPP, permit regulating air emissions from its facility located at 3575 East 400 North Road in Neoga. Shelby County Energy LLC operates combustion turbines for the purposes of generating electricity, in addition to natural gas-fired preheaters. Based on the review of the permit application, Illinois EPA has made preliminary determination that the permit application meets the standards for issuance and has prepared a draft permit for public review. Illinois EPA is accepting comments from the draft permit. Submit comments by 11:59 p.m. on August 25th, 2025. If sufficient interest is expressed in the draft permit, a hearing or other informational meeting may be held. Requests for information, comments, and questions should be directed to Sarah Brubaker, Office of Community Relations, IEPA 2520 West Isles Avenue, P.O. Box 19276 in Springfield, Illinois 62794. She also provides her phone number. The repository for the draft permit and associated documents is available at the Illinois EPA office at 2125 South First Street in Champaign. They ask that you decide to show up. You please call ahead and ensure that someone will be available to assist you. Copies of the draft permit, statement of basis, and public notice are also available at a website that we will publish and provide. Copies of the documents will be made available upon request. The CAAPP is Illinois' operating permit program for major sources of emissions as required by Title V of the Clean Air Act. The conditions of the CAAPP permits are enforceable by the public as well as by the U.S. EPA, Illinois EPA. In addition, by implementing Title V of the Act, CAAPP permits may contain Title I conditions, for example, conditions established under the permit programs for new and modified emission units pursuant to Title I of the Act. The permit contains no T1 conditions that are being newly established or revised by this permitting action. The beginning of this public comment period also serves as the beginning date of the U.S. EPA 45-day review period, provided by the U.S. EPA does not seek a separate proposed period. Next is from Ms. Linda Voorhees, Chairman Mayhaw County Board. I'm writing about the ambulance subsidy tax that was collected on our property taxes. The Windsor Area Ambulance Service has not received any payments from this since November of 2022. It is my understanding there was a freeze put on this. The voters of Shelby County passed a referendum for this tax several years ago when Kathy Lance was county clerk. This tax was collected for 2022 with the property taxes we paid in 2023, but has not been distributed. I believe as a voter that this money was collected should have been distributed for the purpose it was collected for. When our ambulance service was formed in 1975, we were set up to cover the Richland Township, Ash Grove Township, Windsor Township, all in Shelby County, and Whitley Township. In 2024, we not only covered all of our territory, but we did 32 runs for Shelbyville, and at the end of April 2025, we had already done 15 runs for Shelbyville. I am sure that other ambulance services in Shelby County are also helping cover Shelbyville. I sent a letter to Mr. Orman, I sent a letter when Mr. Orman was chairman, and I received a response back from Mr. Ross telling me that there was a freeze on this tax and that they did not know that they were able to do with this. He said that this would show up on my 2023 taxes payable in 2024, but there would not be a charge. I was charged a penny. I know this is not much, and I had no problem paying this, but everyone in Shelby County got charged a penny. That would add up to a few dollars. Mr. Ross also said that they may refund this money back to taxpayers. Do you know how much time and money that would cost to do this? If you are not going to distribute this money to the ambulance services, then what are you going to do with it? I believe this money was collected under false pretense. Thank you for your consideration on this matter. Linda Voorhees, and she provides our address. So both of these have been filed with the clerk. Other updates, I spoke to the auditor today. They are prepared to submit everything, the pre-audit firm, so it should be prepared to hand off to Lauterbach in September, and then immediately begin their work on 2024 to do the pre-audit services there. So I think some of it took a little bit longer initially. We found out the AFR wasn't done. They completed the AFR for us, and then right now, she said they're just going through the grants, and they should have everything ready to go to hand off for Lauterbach. Lauterbach says that their goal would be to get the rest, or to get 2023 done, hopefully by year end, and then jump straight into 2024 and get us caught up so they can do 2025. So with that, they also were very generous with their assistance. I was contacted again by IDOT and DHS to get a status update for where our audits stand, just kind of a periodic check-in as they requested. And both firms did reach out to both of those entities to let them know that the progress is being made, which is critical to keep our funding going. And then Sigich is also working on getting access to GATA, because there was a request from DHS to request an extension for 2025, since we're past the window. We're passing the window, I think, this month for that. So Sigich will take care of making sure that all of the extension requests have been submitted through the portal as well. There might be more, but I can't remember right now. So, but that was a lot. So any old business? Done? All right, move to approve the payment of claims. Have a motion to approve. Ms. Matlock, Ms. Bain. Anything, any notes or there? Yep. Any questions about the claims? No? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Bain?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Hardy?
Yes.
Matlock?
Yes.
Mengal?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Morse?
Yes.
Pritchard?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Wofford?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Yanis?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. All right, move on to item 19, public body comment. Mr. Cole?
I'm just going to relay some information I've been given. Carol and I went to the county board meeting for board members in Galena, Illinois. We haven't had a financial statement, I don't believe, from our treasurer. I think the way he put this is he can't come up with a financial statement at the end of the year. She could be without a job. So there's no annual report for 2024. There's not one on the website. I spoke to a member of the state treasurer's office a day or two ago. I showed them our balance statement for the end of February, and their opinion was this balance statement with no beginning or ending balances and no totals doesn't really have any meaning. So this is nothing I decided on, I'm just relaying information.
Anything else? You good? Jake? You good?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Public body comment.
Yeah, just one real quick thing. If you could remind folks, when they receive a FOIA request, they need to respond to it. If they're not the FOIA officer, they need to forward it to the FOIA officer. Thank you.
Thank you. Public body comment.
So, we talked a lot about money in the budget, and, I have a concern, and I voiced it before, about our investments of money. The treasurer did show up at last month's meeting for a cameo, and talked about that $3.2 million of our money is outperforming the Illinois funds. That is correct. I mean, the Illinois funds is at 4.49% as of today.
There is 3.2 million invested, and it is marginally better than that, maybe 0.2%, but it is better. And that money adds up to about $700 a year in outperformance of the Illinois funds. My concern is the other $16.5 million that wasn't mentioned. That is underperforming the Illinois funds by, in the neighborhood, and this is very ballparkish, of about 3%. That, on the other hand, adds up to $480,000. So, on one hand, we got $480,000 that we are leaving on the table, but we heard about the $700 that we gained. So that's one point. The other point, real quick, recently the treasurer talked about that the money was kept locally to invest with the local homeowners and the local businesses, and that was good for our county. She encouraged the 2 local banks to put out a statement to that effect, that money was used within the county, and they did. And that is a main reason that she has, one of the main reasons she has said that she leaves the money locally. But that money, in the neighborhood of $20 million, by law has to be collateralized. The banks have to collateralize that, and they have, by all appearances. They have letters of credit from each of them do. They also have each purchased about $10 million in bonds as collateral pledged to us in the event of a catastrophe. So my question is, if we have $20 million in deposit on uptown in these 2 banks, and these 2 banks have spent $20 million to purchase bonds as collateral for our deposits, where's the money to loan out to the community? You can't spend money twice. That $20 million has been used to purchase securities in our name, held at the bank, tied up in these collateralized bonds. So my question is, where's the money to loan to the community? That's just not a direct question, but just a concern, a thought.
Thank you. Public body comment.
Jeff, could you elaborate on what collateralized really means? You want to do it the fancy way, or do you want me to do it the egg counting way?
Well, this is now your comment section.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. This is my understanding of collateralization. They basically guarantee to this $10 million per bank. $10 million of our money is protected. Invested in bonds elsewhere at a couple percent. That money cannot be also tied to loans in the community or anywhere else. It's one or the other. You don't get a collateral, and the purpose of the collateralization is to protect our assets. So it's not tied up in anything that's real sensitive, that's very, got a lot of fluctuation. It's tied in something very even, like bonds. So if they say that it's collateralized, it cannot be loaned to people in the community, period. Is that accurate?
My understanding.
Public body comment. Public body comment. Public body comment. All right, seeing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn. We have a motion and a second by Mr. Ross. All those in favor of adjournment say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thanks for coming out.
Hey, son, are you going?
I'm number 6.
Yep.